Thanks. Got questions on two topics. What do you make of the failure of the Council to pass Alderman Haddon's resolution concerning India and the caste and religious violence there? Furthermore,
would say the last part?
The caste and religious violence there.
Well, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert on what's happening in India, the world's largest democracy. And I think what you heard a lot today is, one, concern about what is going on in the ground, but also a recognition that many members of the council felt uncomfortable because they don't know all the ins and outs of what's going on there on the ground in India. Obviously, we have concerns any places where people's God-given rights are being suppressed, where there's state-sponsored violence. But I think what you saw was a reluctance on the part of the city council to weigh in on an issue so far away that many didn't feel like they had enough information about, particularly in light of the fact that there are so many pressing issues here in Chicago. I'm sure there'll be other instances where members of the council are going to want to weigh in on a range of issues that are going on in other countries, but also we need to make sure that we're not out ahead of the Biden administration, who in the first instance has, I think, the primary responsibility for really setting the nation's views on foreign policy matters. But there's a lot of hot spots across the country, across the world, I should say, that we get reporting on, but it doesn't mean that we know with the level of precision that others do what's actually happening on the ground there.
What do you think, as a politician and as a small d Democrat, about the Modi government's conduct towar's Muslims in India?
What I say sitting here as the mayor of Chicago is I'm not going to get ahead of the Biden administration. My expectation is that the federal administration is engaging across the globe on issues of human rights, and where we see the government either turning a blind eye or not taking appropriate action, or worse, being themselves engaged in violence. For example, like what's going on in Myanmar. I read about that every day. I am horrified what the military junta is doing to citizens who are simply out in the street expressing themselves, and now pushing almost 300 people killed in that country because they have the audacity to want democratic rule over and self-determination over themselves. So I have a lot of personal opinions about a lot of things going on across the world, but I also, in the first instance, want to defer to the federal administration, who I have great confidence in, are not going to be bystanders when we see acts of violence compromising democratic principles or other atrocities across the world.